Nobody's gonna take Sally, are they?
We lay my love and I beneath a weeping willow.
And she's totally creepy.
No, she's not. She's so cute. Hi guys, Lisa Mack here. So I thought it would be a great change of scenery to get outside and continue our talk on manual mode. We've been talking about exposure, but today we're going to focus on aperture. I've said this before, but just for review, I'm just going to name the three components of manual mode: aperture, ISO, and shutter speed. Aperture is how much light your camera lets in. There's an opening on your camera and your lens, and the wider the opening is, that is the larger the aperture. The smaller the opening is, the smaller the aperture. Aperture is measured in f-stops. I never use the word f-stop. I don't know why it's called f-stop. I don't know what that means. Who cares? But it's important to know that your lenses have a number on them, which is the f-stop. You'll have a 50 millimeter or 70 millimeter lens, and then you'll have a number next to it that is your aperture number: 1.8, 1.4, f22, 3.5. If you look on your lens, you'll see the numbers on there. That is your aperture. It's kind of confusing, but don't worry. Just know that the smaller the number is, the more light comes in. The bigger the number is, the less light it comes in. Aperture doesn't just affect your exposure, it actually affects how much of your image is in focus. You know how we talked about that super cool blurry background that everybody wants? Well, aperture affects that. So if you want to know how to achieve that, then you need to listen up. So back to those f-stop numbers, those crazy numbers, 2.8, f5. So those numbers actually do affect how much of your camera is in focus, and that's also called depth of field. Enough talking. It's really hard for me to understand if someone's just blabbing in my ear, so let's take a walk and go shoot some things, and I'll explain exactly what I mean. Okay, look, stop it, turn it off. The only way to learn is to get out and practice, so that's what we're doing. I'm going to take some test shots so I can show you guys exactly what aperture does. Some good news is, if you're not ready to start fully shooting in manual, you can change your camera over to AV mode. AV mode is called Aperture Priority Mode, and what that means is you can set your camera's aperture, and then your camera will do the rest. It will adjust the settings for you, so you'll have great shots, and you can learn aperture as you go. Okay, I've got my camera in AV mode, and I've also got my model here. This is my stand-in toddler. This is Sally. She's beautiful. She's also very well behaved. She sits still just for me. With this 50 millimeter lens that I mentioned a couple episodes back, I'm going to change my aperture to 1.8, which is as wide open as it gets, and I'm going to take a picture of Sally for you so you can see what it looks like. So as you can see, the background's real blurry and stuff. Anyway, as you can see in this photo, we have a nice blurry background, which is also known as a shallow depth of field. And with a wide open aperture, our image is properly exposed. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and switch it all the way up to the highest aperture there is on this lens. It's a f22. And I'm gonna stand back and take another picture so you can see what it looks like. So in this photo, you can see there's no blurry background and the whole image is in focus. And this is a result of having a higher f-stop number. So I hope you enjoyed our chat about aperture. Super boring, but super cool because you're gonna get awesome pictures, right? So Sally and I had a great time. We want to say thank you for watching. Please subscribe, or at least share this video with some people who you think could totally benefit from it. I know there's somebody out there with a DSLR who needs to hear this. So anyway, have a great week. We're gonna come back next week with more knowledge for you. Stay tuned and happy snapping.